Hi guys, and welcome back to another Cover Zero show with the Titan report for Week 5 against the Miami Dolphins. And with me I have Arnie,
Hi guys.
and we're going to discuss the travesty that occurred in Miami over the weekend. I'd like to point out beforehand, before we get really deep into rant mode, is something we both noticed, kind of unrelated to the game, but the attendance in the stands was pretty abysmal for this game.
Especially after they were winning.
Yeah, it's quite surprising, but that was my aside. So let's get started. From my perspective, this was a woeful game on both sides of the ball, but mainly focusing on the Titans. Obviously, Mariota was out this week with a hamstring. Obviously, you'd expect the Titans, after the loss to the Texans, to at least try to bounce back. Have a good game. Try and get one back, as it were. But that's just not what happened this game.
No, I mean, from the get-go going into this game, I thought, given the fact that Mariota he's a massive part of our offense, but our offense shouldn't change because we're a run-first team. And I think even the commentator said it in the game. They expect 20-20, basically. So 20 carries for DeMarco, 20 carries for Derrick Henry. Pound the ball. Should be an easy win if the defense holds up. We only ran 18 times in that game between the two of them. And that was for a combined yardage of 67. It was just, haven't seen a bad offense as I saw from this Titans team. I mean, out of all of the early games, there were some bad games on that early games schedule, but I think this was the worst.
Oh, this is definitely, honestly, two of the worst games I've watched this year have actually been both Titans in Week 4, Week 5. I don't know what's happened. This week it just, at least to me, watching it, and I know you brought this up while watching it as well, it just didn't feel like they cared.
No, there was no effort there. I mean, the only effort you saw really is, how committed that O-line is. I mean, you saw the injury with Taylor Lewan, which I'm still yet to hear about the extent of that injury yet. But he did come back in that game. But then he gave up 2 sacks and had multiple penalties. He should have never come back in the game. But the dedication was there from the O-line. The O-line is a strong group. They're gonna be very physical. But obviously, it's offensively. I mean, I'll just start on the offensive side of the ball while we're on that. I mean, Matt Castle was appalling all game. I mean,
no surprises there.
He was 21 for 32 for 141 yards and a touchdown. Should have been 2 touchdowns and 200 yards, but we'll get to that when it comes to it. The running game, the play calling was atrocious as far as the running game was concerned. I was saying this to Simon earlier. All game, what the Dolphins have done very well this year. I mean, their defensive unit for the Dolphins is legit. It's a good unit. And they've done a great job up the gut stuffing the run. All year they've done that. So we continue to run up the gut and continue to get a loss on the play or a yard gain. And then the times we ran to the outside on the toss sweeps and the stretch plays and stuff like that, we had great success running those plays. We were getting 8 to 10 yards on a play. But yet we kept going back to the up the gut. And I just don't understand it. And I think that's why the running game was struggling. And we gave up on the running game really quickly. It's not like we were down big. It was just appalling. I mean, the receivers actually got open in that game. There was a throw. Eric Decker was wide open. I think it was a 10-yard in route. He was absolutely wide open, and Castle completely overthrew him. Threw him behind him. Should have been an easy 20-yard completion, and that was on a 3rd down. We were appalling on 3rd down in this game. absolutely appalling. Obviously, the fumble by Murray didn't help. The fumble by Castle, again, we'll get back to that. But yeah, overall as an offense, we're really missing Mariota. It shows this offense is not the same without Mariota, but at the same time, the play calling was atrocious. We were running too many short routes. I mean, we had a number of third and longs in this game, and we were all running like 2-yard drag routes, 5-yard ins, and stuff like that. And it was just like, I think there was one play, it was a 3rd and 19, and we done a 1-yard dump off to Delaney Walker, because that's going to get us a first down. I mean, there was just it just felt like a game where no one cared.
No, I mean, although I don't know what you expect from a backup QB, especially Matt Castle. They're going to take the check downs all day.
Yeah, but this is another problem. We've got a backup quarterback that does not fit the scheme that we play in.
No, he really doesn't. I don't know what they were thinking signing him, to be honest with you.
And the thing is, Castle's had all week with practicing with our starters, so there shouldn't really be too much of a problem. He's been in the league long enough to learn schemes.
But he's been in the league as basically forever been a backup. He's never been good enough to start.
No, he's never been good enough to start, but, you know, this performance is... I mean, I could have done better. But, yeah, I mean, the offense was just appalling. I'm hoping that for next week, obviously, we get Mariota back and Corey Davis back and we get a bit healthier. But yeah, moving on from that, I think I'll speak about the turnovers since they were on offense. The one problem I did have in this game, apart from the fact that the Titans were appalling, was the officiating. I mean, I don't like to be the fan that blames it on the officiating crew why we lost the game, but in this case, I'm going to do that. That fumble, I think it was so close that they just called it as is. But if you actually watch the game again and watch that play again, the whistle goes when that ball is down.
Which fumble is this? Sorry, is this the DeMarco?
Fumble that got returned for a touchdown. Matt Cash.
Oh, okay, yeah, the one where what's his name?
To me, it was an incomplete pass. It's a strip sack basically. For me, it was an incomplete pass. I thought the ball left his hand and it would look like a throwing motion to me. The play for me and all the Titans and most of the Dolphins the play got called dead. Now, I heard the play get called dead, but yeah, they still ran it back to the end zone and then they called it a touchdown. For me, they shouldn't have called it a touchdown. If they're going to call it a fumble, then at least call it a fumble from that spot that it was dead.
Yeah, it seems really spotty implementation.
Yeah, I mean, the play call, the officiating in this game was absolutely awful. I mean, 2 plays before that, there was a touchdown throw to Delaney Walker. It was like a 56-yard touchdown. And it got called back because there was pass interference on Jonnu Smith on the opposite side of the field. I mean, they were all running go routes. There was no contact with Jonnu Smith or to affect the play at all. It was a questionable call. Even the commentators in that game said they saw nothing. So they don't know what they called on that play.
Yeah, but this is the call, the pass interference call that had no impact on the actual play itself, but they called it anyway. Yeah. Because if I remember correctly, there wasn't even a pass. Even if it was thrown to Jonnu Smith, there was still no pass interference. There was a little bump at the line of scrimmage, but again, within the rules, you're allowed that. Well, to be honest with you, I mean, if the commentators are questioning the call on the field, then you know the ref's done goofed. To be honest with you.
Yeah, but there was also another play in the game, and I think I remember saying this to you. This is when Laida Lawan came back in, and Dennis Kelly got flagged for a false start when he was on the sideline.
Oh yeah, he wasn't the only one this week.
No one false started, but they still called a false start. No, there was no jump by any of our guys, and yet they called a false start on our offensive lineman that was not on the field.
That's odd.
And there was also another flag that I don't even think the ref knew what he threw the flag for, but he basically gave a half pretty crappy explanation of, oh, the receiver ran out of bounds and 15 yards was pretty much his explanation for it. That was pretty much like word for word. He didn't know what the hell he was talking about. And it was a 15-yard penalty that I think cost us, I think we just got a fourth down stop and it cost us a fourth down. Or it was a punt return or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was. But yeah, the officiating in the game was absolutely terrible. But I think, again, I might just be looking at that as if, but a loss is a loss at the end of the day. But, I mean, did you think the officiating tool was right in this game?
No. I mean, I was obviously trying to simultaneously watch your game at the same time watching the Cardinals blow out, or get blown out, as the case is. A lot of the calls I saw were, to be honest, that was the case this week for officiating in general, as anyone watching the Dallas game will tell you. But the Titans seemed pretty bad for getting calls out of nowhere. Now, obviously, you've got the case of, if your team's good enough, realistically, you shouldn't be in a position where the refs are deciding the games, realistically. But at the same time, it doesn't help in close games when they're calling pass interference on basically phantom pass interference. It obviously doesn't help. But I think it just adds to the overall issues in Tennessee right now. I mean, I don't know what's going on offensively. We said last week, and I'm going to keep saying this all year. Excuse me. You guys need to get rid of that offensive coordinator. I don't know what he's doing. I'll be surprised if Merlaki last year.
I don't know if this is a stat that you know at all, but the problems we've had with the Titans a lot is we cannot start the game hot, right? It's been 11 consecutive games without an opening score by the Titans.
Oh, wow, really?
11 consecutive games. Not including preseason. This dates back to last year.
Yeah, you would have thought at some point, I mean, the caliber of teams that you end up facing sometimes, you would have thought you get the advantage early, but...
We've scored field goals, but
no touchdowns.
No touchdowns. I mean, this game, we had 10 punts. 10 punts. I mean, our highlight... I'm going to have to do a Brett Kern segment here, right? Because our highlight from that game was Brett Kern. And we played bad when my highlight is a punter. He averaged 50 yards a kick. That's insane.
This is the punters of people too, isn't it?
Do you know what? Yeah, but do you know what his longest punt in that game was? 71 yards. That was from our own end zone as well.
Oh god! What has it come to?
He punted them in the 10-yard line 4 times.
What has it come to? We're discussing the efficiency of punters.
He's a Pro Bowler. We know this.
Well,
but I don't really want to talk about punters. I'd like to get a little bit more optimism, and I'm going to go to what is kind of weird doing this because of after last week's atrocity. I'm going to go to what looked pretty good this week and was our defense. I mean, really, we only held them to 10 points on offense, on our defensive side. Which, to be fair, if your defense holds to 10 points, you should probably win the game.
Especially when you're facing Jay Cutler.
Say the same for the Dolphins. Yeah, I mean, Jay Cutler only had 90 yards passing.
Well, it's just Jay Cutler.
I thought the defense played really well. We had pressure on him pretty much every single play. We only had 1 sack, but we had pretty much pressure every single play. I thought the pick was it was on Jay Cutler because it was a stupid decision, but it was great awareness by Ty Smith. Bayard had himself a hell of a game in the yesterday. Absolutely hell of a game. He had a fumble recovery as well. Adoree Jackson played really well yesterday. He isolated Devontae Parker for the first quarter, and then I think he got injured. And then he did a pretty good job after that. The problem I have with this Tennessee defense, I mean, we played really well through 3 quarters. Then when it got to that 4th quarter, obviously, with how bad the offense was playing, and this isn't necessarily on our defense, we got tired. So it was very easy for the Dolphins then to run on us, especially when we needed to stop the clock and needed to get the ball back.
Well, obviously,
we got gashed. We had the opportunity to get the ball back with 2 minutes to go, and obviously Ajayi ran on us for a first down, and then we ended up getting the ball with 30 seconds left. It wasn't great. But the defense as a whole stuffed Ajayi the whole game, and I thought our safeties, Bayard's playing a lot of up into the line of scrimmage at the moment. He's doing a great job in run support. Woodyard, again, he's still having a great year. He's on, I think, 44 tackles for the year now, which is great. Or 46, I can't remember. But yeah, I was quite impressed with the defensive unit as a whole.
Well, it's kind of, after the shenanigans that happened last week, it's, got nowhere to go but up after last week.
Well, yeah. I mean, going into next week, obviously, I'm hoping obviously Mario is healthy and starting for 1. But then the problems we need to fix going into next week against the Colts, which is a huge game, especially if I'm starting.
Yeah, that division's wide open.
I think he will be because of how wide open the division is. I mean, you've got the Jaguars sitting the top of the division, which is weird to say, at 3-2. You've then got the rest of the division at 2 and 3.
Yeah,
so the division.
I mean, the Colts are going to be forced to play Andrew Luck if they can at this point.
Pretty much. On offense, though, the keys for going into this game, 3rd down. We were at 15% in this game on 3rd down. We need to get it into 3rd, and we've done a bad job of it this year. We need to start getting back into the rhythm, going into 3rd and manageable. So 3rd and 5 and under, because all year we're in 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 15. And it's kind of going back to the Titans of old. We need to sort that out. And obviously our average yard per play, we need to kind of get that number up, because at the moment it's at 3.2.
Oh, wow, really?
For that game, yeah. Our average game per offensive play was 3.2 yards in that game.
See, if that was just running, I mean, that's not bad for a runner. But, I mean, if we're talking overall offense, that's pretty abysmal. I mean, you guys, if I remember correctly, you guys had one of the more efficient 3rd down units last year, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. We were fantastic last year, 3rd down.
You've got, and all that's changed between last year and this year is the offensive line is much better, and you've got a couple more toys to play with, so there's no reason it shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
So
the thing is, we need to get the run game going next week as well. We need to, because it hasn't really kicked off this year. You've seen it in our time of possession. We're only averaging the sort of 28 minutes time of possession, which isn't good enough to win a game. Whereas last year we were dominated in possession. We had about 35. We were averaging about 35, 36 minutes in possession last year, and it showed. It really did. But I mean, I'm not as peed off as I was from last week, because obviously going into the game, I mean, I even said on the Roundtable podcast that if Castle starts, I expect a loss. But I would have at least liked to see a bit more effort from the team going forward.
Yeah,
one thing to say, the offensive line got absolutely manhandled in this game. We gave up a ridiculous amount of sacks. I think it was something like 6 sacks we gave up in this game.
Oh, I said this earlier.
6 sacks.
I think
that offensive line gave 6 sacks. Taylor Lewan gave 2.
So he basically tanked his stats for the year because no one gave a shite, basically, is what you're telling me.
No, it wasn't that. It was when he came back injured and he shouldn't have. He rushed himself back in. Yeah. You saw it. Like, if you rewatch the game itself, like, he rushed himself back in and he didn't look right. But it's a group that needs to get stronger. But I think, again, this group is so used to having someone roll out the pocket and protect the quarterback that way, that with Castle as a pocket passer, they're not used to holding that pocket. which I think why the numbers are so skewed for sacks given up by this team.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a very. I mean, your O-line is really, really good, but they're a very dynamic O-line as well. They've got the ability to get to the second level.
Tackles are probably one of the best tandem in the league of the tackles. The inside, it still needs a bit of work on that inside. It's not the greatest unit in that inside bit.
Well,
But there was one thing, me and Simon were talking about this earlier, and I didn't really notice it until earlier. But obviously, last year we had Chance Warmack on the right side, right guard last year. And if you look at our first half numbers running the football compared to the late half numbers running the football, there was quite a big drop-off of that rushing yard total. We had more success with Chance Warmack there than we did when he wasn't there, but we didn't protect the quarterback as well. So, I mean, I think we're missing Chance Warmack as far as the run game is concerned, because the Eagles are doing a fantastic job of running the football at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, but Spain hasn't been as worrisome as he was for you. You were quite worried about him coming into the season. He seems to have played quite.
Funny enough, Spain's been the better of the out of the guards running the football. Actually, we've got. If you look where most of our success comes from running the football, is from the left side, because I think the offensive line is stronger from that left side with Taylor Lewan and Ben Jones is a good centre. He's good. He's not fantastic. He's good. Banquin in Spain, but the right side is struggling as far as running the ball is concerned with Josh Klein and Jack Conklin. We're not running the ball with as much success as we are to the left, but we're pass blocking from the right side than we are the left. So
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
I mean, I think before yesterday, what am I talking about? Before these past couple of games the Titans have played, I think Taylor Lewan was like number 1 for run blocking with, and then like in pass blocking, he was just good all around. I think since this season.
He's been playing really well this year. Obviously yesterday he didn't play great, but obviously the injury was there. But I think if we'll just have to move on to next week. It's a massive game. We need to win it. We need to step up massively. Obviously, we need healthy Marcus back, and we need a healthy Corey Davis, and we're missing Jonathan Cyprian, so it'd be nice for him to be back as well.
Are you not worried about Mariota, if he does play, having a bit of pocket paranoia? I mean, this is 2 injuries to his legs now he's taken it. Basically,
no, because I think the dynamic of the game with him there changes so much. I think because you've got to worry about him running the football itself, and I think that's where the running game really kicks off. So I think because the defense is going to be probably quarterback spying Mariota in that game, it will open up the run for us, which will make the pass protection easier. If that makes sense.
Oh yeah, no, that makes sense.
Opens things up, but again, another thing I'd like to see the offense really open up as sort of. I mean, the Colts have done a great job all year of stuffing the run. So I would like to see that pass game open up a bit in this game.
I mean, while we're talking about the passing game, should we get on to, I think, one of the bigger issues I think Tennessee has? We keep mentioning it. We mentioned it at the top of the show. But I think this is going to be the story all year, is the play calling both offensively and defensively has been disappointing, to say the least.
The play calling with defense, I'm fine with. I think the players just aren't executing it properly. The only thing with the defensive side of it is we play too conservative as the game goes on and when we have a lead. I'd like to see that stop. I'd like to play aggressive from start to finish. Obviously, if the lead's insurmountable to come back, then yeah, fair enough. But you still want to teach the players to play aggressive the whole game. Offensively, the play calling has been a shambles, an absolute shambles. I mean, we went into the off season. We picked up a load of guys to help our special teams because we had big worries with our special teams last year. We gave up quite a few kickoff returns, punt returns. The kicking was fine, but the actual special teams itself was really bad. And the special teams looked great. Just the rest of the team doesn't.
No, I mean, I think the biggest issue, at least with the Titans offensively, is they don't seem to know what they want to be doing, in terms of running or passing on any given down. And they've also got the problem of they keep. I mean, at the start of the season, this was definitely an issue. Not so much now, but it still does pop up. Is they keep rotating the running backs in and out, not allowing anyone to get a good flow, and that really bugs me watching.
I see why. I know why they're doing it is because different plays for different schemes. Murray's more of inside the tackles, whereas Derrick Henry, you can he's more all round. His cuts are really strong, so you can use him more on those sort of toss sweeps. But I'd like to see us use more screens with those two because they're good. They're good pass catchers, so I'd like to see them use more screens with them. Yeah, but I get the whole rotating thing. It keeps the guys fresh on that offense. It's just the receivers need to be able to. Well, the quarterback needs to get the ball to the receiver in the first place, but the receivers need to be able to make those plays. I mean, we've seen it from Richard, we've seen it from Delaney, but we haven't seen it from anyone else. We need to, as an offense, we need to get guys like Tyrod Taylor more involved. Because Tyrod Taylor, we use him very heavily at the beginning of the game. You see a lot of fake jet sweeps to him. Sometimes he will, like the first play of the game for us was a jet sweep rush with Tyrod Taylor, and it got a 5-yard gain. It was a really good rush. But you need to get him more involved to the rest of the game. The play calling just gets stagnant as the game goes on. It's really creative for the first quarter, then it gets stagnant.
But not kicking an onside kick to start the game creative. Let's not go that far.
I still didn't mind that call. It shows the aggressiveness. It shows how we were going to be this year. But, well, it hasn't really. But I think things will improve in Tennessee. We just need the team to be healthy, and we need to start gelling better as an offense. Their offense really needs to get rolling. The defense is what we would expect it would be. Adoree Jackson is still a rookie. He will improve. But I think the secondary will get better. The secondary has been probably slightly worse than we expected it to be. But I think it will get better. The front seven has been definitely better than we expected. But yeah, the offense needs to improve massively. It needs a right kick up the ass, and it needs to. We need a spark on offense. I don't know what it is. Whether it be Corey Davis coming back, whether it be Mariota coming back, we need a spark on offense, and we need a big game on offense. A good 400-500 game all round, like the Seahawks game essentially, but throughout all 4 quarters, not just in the second half.
Yeah, I think. People, obviously, non-Tennessee, non-Colts fans will be downplaying how important this game is this week. But I think
it's massive.
I think this may be one of the most important games you guys now play all year. This is gonna. Yeah.
If you look at the matchups, I mean, we're going to get shredded by T.Y. Hilton. We always do. It's number 1 receiver. He's going to absolutely shred us. I don't doubt that. It'd be a true test for Adoree, though. But it all depends who they've got a quarterback. But I mean, if you look at the rest of the matchups for next week, the Jaguars have got the LA Rams, which should be a really good defensive game. Which, again, it still sounds really weird saying that. But I expect the Rams to beat the Jags next week. And the Texans have got a bye week. I say they've got a bye week. They're facing the Browns. So I expect, obviously, the Texans to win. And with how Deshaun Watson's playing, he looks like he's already took control of this division.
Yeah, I mean, I think, depending on who the QB is with the Colts, I think if Luck is back, I think the name of the game is going to be pressuring him and testing out that arm. You want to make him throw the ball. to spots that he doesn't necessarily might not be capable of because of the surgery. That's going to be the name of the game. If it's Brissett, again, I mean, he's done quite well. I mean, I'm not surprised that much. I know a lot of people are. I actually think he is a legit QB, sticking with a good offensive, a quarterback-minded coach, and I think he could be one of the better ones in the league.
Yeah, I mean, if you think of it this way, with next week, how important this is. If the Jags win, if our whole division wins, apart from obviously our game aside, the Jags will go to 4-2. The Texans will be 3-3. So whoever loses our game is essentially done in this division.
Not necessarily.
It'll be 2 games behind. 2 games behind, and I think the Colts have already lost a divisional game, and so have we. And we've won a divisional game as well. But
yeah, I was gonna say you've got the tie over the Jags, haven't you?
Yeah, we've got the tie over the Jags, but then we wouldn't have the tie over the 2 teams that we should have.
Yeah, I can say.
I mean, it's a big game. If the Titans lose this game, it probably spells near the end for us. I mean, we still have a pretty good schedule coming up, but it's definitely close to the end. 2 games behind this early on isn't good. But the same goes for the Colts. But then obviously getting Andrew Luck back for the Colts, we know they can pick games up. So
yeah, and obviously you got the injuries to the Texans that they may start dropping games because of it.
The defense will start dropping off, but I expect I forgot his bloody name.
Deshaun Watson.
No, defensive player Clowney to pick up the slack for them. But their defensive injuries are huge. That's huge. There's 2 big injuries. That defense looks really thin now without those 2.
Indeed. Right. Right. To wrap up, anything you want to bring up you haven't already brought up? Sorry.
No, I mean, this is a must-win. We haven't beat the Colts in. I haven't seen us beat the Colts.
Yeah.
We've been watching for 10 years. So, no, I've seen us beat the Colts once in our first year.
Yep. What's going on?
We need to beat the Colts. It's a must-win.
Indeed. Right. Well, that's
nice.
Right. So that will be it for the Titan report this week. Obviously, hope you guys enjoyed this. I know there's Tennessee fans out there a lot angrier than Arnie currently is. The Tennessee forums are a sight to behold, to be honest with you.
Yes, they are.
But of course, like, comment and subscribe on this video. It helps share it around the interwebs. Leave us your thoughts, Tennessee fans, obviously Colts fans going into next week. And that will be it from us. So, we will see you tomorrow. Why do I keep forgetting that? For the Roundtable podcast. I hope to see you there. If you've got any questions you want to raise, tune in tomorrow and ask them in the live chat. And that will be us. So we'll see you tomorrow, guys.
See you later.